Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to episode 6-7. It was
That's a
always
lot of
fun,
episode
man.
though. Shout out us
Hey,
two.
shout out us.
If no one's gonna give us our flowers, who else will?
Ah,
Do you know what I
so
mean?
let me
Shout out
enjoy a
us
bit of
two, man.
6-7. I don't care what
Bro,
they say. They're gonna call me an
67
unk. I don't
episodes.
care.
Bro.
Yeah,
67 episodes is a lot, you know what I mean? We show
man.
up every single week.
Without fail.
So it's
You know what I
it's, it's
mean?
one of those ones.
Giving you up
I
the
want to say
good.
kudos to us too, man. You know what I mean?
Shout out to the Stateside boys, man.
There you
I'm your
go.
host, Stateside Gab. Over there, Mr. OKC. Is it not great, though?
Let's
Mr.
not say
Arsenal.
OKC too much nowadays, man. We're looking like the Sacramento Kings out there.
We're not talking about my Kings today. We're not the topic of conversation. Don't worry, we'll get to your boys in a minute. But Stateside up, first of all, we've the first episode of the new year as well. Happy New Year. All that.
Of course.
Yeah, good one with the fam.
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. You know what I mean, forever grateful for what I have. So can't complain, man. Can't complain.
Oh, we
And in
all,
the
man.
sports side of things, you know what I mean. My teams are winning teams. So hey, when I turn on my cable or illegal stream, I see good winning basketball, football, or soccer, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I mean, I see great football, great NFL, great American football. Shall we get on to the headlines now?
We have
I think,
caught and compromised to the end. Of the
man.
Amarim.
Man, they're
Wow.
telling me Solskjaer's coming back. I'm not against it, by the way, but
Hey.
Anyway, let's go through some of the NBA rants. Talk some of the bits and bobs that's doing the rants at the minute.
Let's do it.
The hope is that Nikola Jokic will be back playing at West by the All-Star break, which is about mid-February. The
Right.
Suns GM says that Dylan Brooks is off limits ahead of this year's trade deadline, and Trey Murphy has now become the Pelicans' all-time leader in 3-point makes. Stateside up as we do run through all of these. Jokic not being there I need to have a look at the record since he's been out.
They beat the Sixers last night.
I want to say it's not.
Anyone.
I want to say it's not
Bench beat the
terrible.
Sixers, bro.
It could be worse. I'm seeing a win against the Raptors, good team. The Sixers, good team. Losses to like the Nets and the Cavs and the Heat. Some other teams in there as well. However, on the whole, to start this spell without Nikola Jokic, I like what I'm seeing. Remember as well, their roster is pretty banged up in regards to what the injury situation is.
Gordon
Outside of
and
Jokic
Brown
as
are
well.
back, I heard.
So this can only bode well for what the Nuggets are, hopefully about to do without Jokic. Stateside up. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. I mean, the injury to Jokic and Valanciunas as well just came at a wrong time. I mean, Valanciunas also got injured, I think, like a game or two after Jokic got injured. So, in terms of the front court side of things, it's looking a bit small. But, I mean, bro, some of these players, they've already been there, done that, got the T-shirt. So, it's like I said on the last episode on the pod that the Nuggets shouldn't worry too much because best case scenario is what they've got. Do you know what I mean? A hyperextended knee, Jokic only out for a couple weeks, like you said, up to the All-Star break. They were thereabouts. Do you know what I mean? As long as you have Jokic, you should feel like you can beat anyone. Do you know what I mean? Apparently, even OKC at this point. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those ones. As long as you're there or thereabouts, third, fourth seed, Jokic comes back. He's probably gonna get himself some rest as well, some well-needed rest. So if I'm a Nuggets fan, I'm not stressing. You know what I mean? I feel like we're still in a good spot considering the injury issues that we've had. So I'm not stressing out if I'm a Nuggets fan. I think they're in a good spot right now, considering.
Yeah, the fourth in the Western Conference. You haven't said anything wrong, to be fair. And it's like I said in the last episode, it's about not straying too far away from the pack, especially in the top six, because you would like to think that they would like a favourable team, that's battling in the play-in to hopefully give them a chance to go far or further in the playoffs, rather than falling into one of those play-in spots and then they have to face the other big boys in the Eastern and the Western Conference, because you don't want to get an early tough matchup in the West. The Phoenix Suns, we're going to talk about them a little bit in a short while, but the GM has come out and said, trade deadline, not a lot of trades that's gone on, by the way. This might be a conversation for if, nothing really materializes towards the trade deadline. We still have a little bit of time until then. But he says that Dylan Brooks, no way, no how, he's a key part of the team now. And me and you have spoken about this stateside stuff in regards to not just what the Suns have done, but Dylan Brooks has done wonders for his PR and his perception for fans, because it wasn't that long ago when he was in that Memphis situation when they got knocked out of the playoffs, and for some reason the blame solely landed at his feet, it felt like. And I'm like, that's a little bit unfair. Did a lot of work to rebuild a lot of his, name with the Rockets. And now he's come into this Sun situation. You're seeing what they're doing. You're seeing what the record says they're doing as well. Fair play to Dillon Brooks. He's made himself into a key piece in one of the more better teams in the Western Conference. So fair play to Dillon Brooks.
No, 100%. As you were just talking, I was looking at his stats, and yeah, he's well, that's 21, averaging 21 points, on 6 rebounds. That's decent. I mean, his shooting splits are solid as well. Obviously, gives you great hard nosed defense. Helps with the culture that Phoenix are trying to set over there. You know what I mean? Especially with the low expectations that they had when KD left, when Bradley Beal left. And obviously, Dillon Brooks, it looks like he's rewriting a lot of wrongs that a lot of people had on him, like you just covered over there when he left Memphis. A lot of people question the fact that he might not ever make another NBA team. Do you know what I mean? But now he's playing at the level that some might even say All Star. Some might say it, not me.
Not
Some,
me either. I'm just letting you land, but
but some might say it. But hey,
I
all
could see
credit to
I
Dillon
could see an all
Brooks.
defensive team. I could see it.
100%,
Hmm.
100%. I mean, he hit a tough step back three on Shea a couple nights ago as well. I'm like, this guy, like his jump shot looks so awkward, but it works. It goes in. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, but on both sides of the court, he plays at a high level, so you can't do anything but credit him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Fair play to Dillon Brooks' development and what the Suns are doing at the minute. Only seventh in the West, but you know how volatile the standards can be over there. One day you can mess around and find yourself fourth. You can find yourself in the playoffs for real. So fair play to the Suns and Dillon Brooks. Like I said, we'll talk about them in a short second. Trey Murphy, one of your boys. You're a fan of Trey Murphy and
Yep.
what he's been doing for the Pelicans. He's the now all-time leader in 3-point makes. And when I heard this on the broadcast not that long ago, I can't remember who they were playing. It might have been the Warriors. It was somebody, and they were going crazy for the record being broken. And I'm like, wow, really? He was only drafted a few years ago. He's not that long in the NBA. But then you really put it in perspectives, like the Pelicans, relatively younger franchise. If I'm not mistaken, the youngest franchise by age in the league since they relocated, obviously, to New Orleans. This is a younger team that hasn't seen a lot of success. So for Trey Murphy to be coming out, being as good, one of them, probably one of the most consistent player since, a certain person, Zion, has come into the league. You know what? Fair enough. Again, it's similar to what I was saying in Dillon Brooks in regards to the development and what we've been seeing. But in regards to what Trey Murphy and what he's been doing for the Pels, not really the Pels so much because they're still one of the worst teams in the league. But for Trey specifically, there's
100%. I mean, there's someone that's always head of like these trade talks and stuff like that because he's a valuable piece with what he provides in terms of offense. So we're talking about his 3-point shooting, which is valuable. A lot of teams, including a team like OKC, to be fair, he's been in talks with getting a trade to OKC. Big shot, take a big shot maker as well. Jimmy, his length, his athleticism can give you a serviceable job on the defensive side of the ball as well. I like his game a lot. You know what I mean? And he has no range from three as well. That's the thing. He's very, very hard to guard. So it's just a matter of if he does end up on a contending team or a better team that's challenging for titles and stuff like that, can he rise up to the level and the expectation that teams will expect from him once he does come to that type of environment? It's all well and good making all these threes and shooting at a high level for the Pelicans when there's zero expectation on you. But when you come to a team like an OKC, like a Denver, for example, these type of teams, when we're expecting you to make shots, can you make them? Because then you saw the same thing with Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson, indeed.
Do you know what I mean? You see how slow he started with the Nuggets, but they expected him to come in and actually drain everything in sight. But that's not how it works. But at the end, I can only go for what I've seen so far. Do you know what I mean? What I've seen, I'm impressed.
Well, you say we'll move on in a second, but you say teams should be looking at Trey Murphy in regards to potentially trade. He's on a pretty penny now. He just signed an extension with the Pelicans, which means he's going to be earning $112 million dollars over 4 years. So that's not a cheap necessarily contract to trade for. However, I could see teams like the Magic, potentially the Heat, if they want to part ways with some of their picks as well. If I'm looking at teams like in the Western Conference as well, am I saying the Lakers? Hey man, they're always in these kind of trade talks.
The Lakers need any and everything.
I mean, the Mavericks, the Blazers. There's teams now that if they want to, spice up their roster a little bit, Trey Murphy's not a bad place to look, man. So, I guess if I'm the Pelicans, and the question I will have for you is that if, a nice, tasty trade package comes on your doorstep and Trey Murphy is the centerpiece for that trade, would you pull the trigger on something like that, considering that you're probably going to get something tasty back as well?
I would. I'd actually trade for Trade Murphy. Like I said, I like his game a lot. You know what I mean? And that 3-point shooting is very hard to find in the league. You know what I mean? That consistent 3-point shooting is very hard to find in the league. So I think the value that he provides is just too valuable to turn over.
Yeah, turn your nose out. I know what you mean. I know what you
Exactly.
mean. Let's move on into the Western Conference. Always something going on in the West. Kevin
We don't
Durant.
have to.
No,
Right.
we do. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. Get there. Don't you worry your pretty little head. You know.
Ah,
We'll start off with one of the relics from the past of your team, Kevin Durant. He gamed the Phoenix Suns the other day. Fairs, 3-pointer.
what
I
goes
can't remember
around
who he
comes
shot it
around,
for.
man.
Yeah, I can't remember who he shot it over now, but he was on the wing. He pulled it, and I said, "Oh yeah, no problem, easy."
It
He
was
like what?
Goodwin. It
Yeah,
was Jordan Goodwin,
he had
the
no
same person
chance.
that shot 8 of 12 from free against us
Hi,
the night before.
can you imagine
You
again?
hate to see it. I love to
Again.
see it, but
Oh no,
I
again
don't
we'll
even know
get
if
to
he
you
was
lot.
like that. So
Don't you worry about that. We'll get to you
he's
lot.
got a hater on me. Is what I'm saying.
The question I have for you now is that this is a very interesting dynamic, because there was obviously a lot said after and before the game as well. Kevin Durant was saying that he was scapegoated in regards to what the Phoenix Suns situation was. Obviously, we know how poor they were last year, missing the playoffs. A lot of antics in regards to what him, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal were as a collective on the court. And now he's coming to Houston Rockets situations where it's like, yes, they're figuring it out. However, they understand that they're a younger team. They have their style intact in regards to offensive rebounds, being physical, and giving Kevin Durant the ball when it matters. They're doing a lot better of that when we had questions of them only a few weeks ago. They're getting there, it feels like. But in regards to what it was when he was in Phoenix, I guess the question I have for you is, why do they look so much better when Bradley Beal and namely Kevin Durant are now not there anymore?
Why do Phoenix look better? I mean, you can attribute that to the fact that there's no real expectation on that. Actually, I mean, teams are playing them slightly differently. Um, I'm saying the lack of expectation to win isn't really there when you don't have a Kevin Durant there. Um, I feel like the Suns, they currently, I would say, not to take a credit away from them, but I would say they're almost playing above what they expected to. You know what I mean? And I feel like as the season progresses, they will potentially regress back to the mean. I think they're a good enough team to make the playoffs. Probably the eighth seed. It's a Phoenix OKC matchup in the first round. It's not against the realm of possibility. But in terms of why the Suns are playing good right now, is just I would base it mainly on the fact that there's no real pressure to win. Do you know what I mean? There's no real pressure to win, so you can play freely. You can shoot the ball with not really that much pressure. Do you know what I mean? If you win, if it goes in, it goes in. If you miss, you miss. But if Karen Durant is on your team and a Bradley Bill's on your team, and you have all those talks and noise circling around your team, when you're a shooter, you have to make the shot now. Because if you lose, then are the Suns the real deal? When's Kevin Durant getting traded? All of this type of talk. But if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose because KD's not there, Bradley Bill's not there, Devin Booker's there. But really and truly, like I said, the Suns team, they're good enough. They're a good team, but they're not good to the point where a lot of people are expecting them to win consistently.
I would argue, the only thing I would argue is that I don't believe they have their first round pick this year. So there was a little bit more of a, let's call it an incentive to actually
Mm.
do their absolute most to win games, not to be, the best team in the West. They were never going to be that with the way their roster is constructed.
Mm.
But they still needed to, put wins on the table. Otherwise, their pick could be, number one in the draft, and they have no control over, who comes to Phoenix because they just don't have the pick. However, another question I have for you in regards to, the situation where it was with Kevin Durant, Phoenix Suns. He said the word scapegoated. Do you think that is, I guess the correct narrative that he's painting it out to be? Do you think that Kevin Durant is, quote unquote, holding the lion's share of the blame for that situation not happening? Or do you think, there's more people involved than just, specifically KD?
Well, I mean, if you're the best player, if you're by far and away the best player on the team, if the team's not doing well, a fair share of the blame is going to fall at your feet. You know what I mean? That's normal. That's always going to happen. And obviously with KD, with the noise of he hasn't won since he left Golden State and this and the third, that talk was always going to, like I said, stay there. But like I'm saying, since he's left, when Phoenix lose, not to say that no one cares, but it's like the expectation isn't there to win. So that's just how it was always going to be with KD and the whole KD situation. It's easy to scapegoat. It's easy to scapegoat not only the best player but the coach as well. But mainly, if the best player isn't playing to the level, or if the team's not playing at the level, they look at the best player. They look at the MVP of the team. So that's kind of how I see it.
That's fair. That's fair. I have to. I agree with you, but then at the same time, I do think that he has to hold a lot of responsibility for what happened. Not just him, though. Devin Booker has to. He's playing very well this year, I must say, but he has to hold a lot of responsibility as well. Bradley
Bradley
Beal
Bill has to
has
hold a
to
lot of
hold
responsibility.
probably the most. I'll be honest
That's
with you.
insane.
Probably the most in regards to if I had to put it at a player's feet specifically. Yeah, Bradley Beal wasn't willing enough to have more of a role where he has to take, less shots, sit back, play a little bit more defense, just buy in to what the Phoenix Suns have, especially when there's two better players that's sitting right in front of you.
He wasn't willing to stay injury free, and he wasn't willing to leave when they wanted him to leave because of that no trade clause.
As well.
So if you're looking at the line share of the blame, Bradley Bill has to take most of it, but he won't because he's not the best player on the team.
Uh, and I understand the argument that best player on the team, if something doesn't go well, yes, because if it goes well, he's going to get the lion, share of the credit, and if it
Pros and
doesn't,
cons.
yes, the blame. But nah, man, I don't think it's as cut and paste as that. The ownership, the culture stuff, especially, you have hid from a lot of this blame that's being passed around. I feel like because of what Bradley Beal was, because of what KD was, unfortunately for Phoenix. I don't think he's looking at it in the right way in regards to this is all my fault. It's not, because there's, in my opinion, more people that hold blame. You could say equally in a way.
I mean,
You got
if you want to take it back a bit further, you'd say that bringing in Kevin Durant, they kind of mortgaged away the future. And Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, DeAndre Ayton, bringing in KD, expecting it to be like a banker. That if we bring KD in, we're definitely winning because the high level talent, you can't, like, surely there's no way you can lose,
Mm.
but you can. Do you
You
know what I mean?
can.
You can. You know what I mean? So it's one of those. Yeah, that's just how the cookie crumbled in the end, unfortunately, for Phoenix.
As well, but I don't think either sides are now upset, except for the other night. But I don't think either sides are necessarily upset with where they are, because Phoenix have a good shot in terms of competing in the West, and the Suns are not going to bottom out and be one of the West teams, so they'll probably get something decent in their
You
pick.
just said Phoenix and the Suns.
Oh well, you see, you just see where my head is at. The Rockets have a good chance to compete in the West. The
They
Suns are not
do.
going to bottom out. There we go.
Facts.
There we go.
And I like when players play when they're fueled by hate. And you saw that with Kevin Durant last night.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? I've never seen him this aggressive late in the fourth quarter, hitting a game winner, telling them to get their ass back to Phoenix.
Personal, innit? It was
You
personal.
love stuff like that. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? You love stuff like that. Obviously, you want to love the game, but like hate fuels a lot of great moments in sports. So
Mm.
I like seeing that from KD yesterday.
Yeah, I feel you. Let's talk about the Mavericks. Are they getting any better? Not really. I had a look at their record, and they're picking up wins here, there, but still competing for a play-in spot. 12th in the West, 13-23. So it's not the greatest record. I can't lie. Cooper Flag, good rookie, but he's not who we're necessarily talking about today. Anthony Davis has been in a lot of trade talks in regards to, reports say he's not happy with the situation that they're in. He should be competing, at the top, whether it be the East or the West, whatever the case is. And he's come out and said that, he's excited to, welcome back Kyrie, because Kyrie's not that far away, apparently, in regards to his recovery. It could be, any week, maybe potentially All-Star break as well. Kyrie could be coming back. And this could be a new look Dallas Mavericks, ready to fire on all cylinders, maybe to go on a run and actually compete for a proper playing spot, or playoff spot, I should say, in the Western Conference. Now, Stateside, have been very vocal in regards to blow this team up. I don't need to
Right.
see anything, no. This team's finished. And even if everybody is healthy, nah. They ain't competing in no Eastern Conference, no Western Conference, nowhere. Blow the team up and, build for the future around Cooper Flag. If Kyrie does come back, and especially if he starts, piecing things together and starts playing well, the record starts getting a bit better, would you change your stance in regards to the Dallas Mavericks blowing it up and instead actually competing?
I mean, new information obviously requires like new sort of like thought process and new opinions and
Am I
stuff. But
smelling a
as of
back
right
track?
now, exactly as of right now, I still stand with the fact that I think this Mavs team, they're just not good enough. I don't think they're good enough to even get the eighth seed. Do you know what I mean? They'll have to do a lot and expect a lot of teams to drop out for them to just about get the eighth seed just to get beat by OKC in the first round. So really and truly, what are we even doing here? I like Cooper Flag a lot. I like how his game is slowly transitioned, how he feels and looks more comfortable. Yeah, as obviously you were banging on about at the start of the season when they were playing by the point, it just wasn't comfortable. It just didn't make sense. But I like how he's growing into his own in the league. Um, so I'd say just build around that because
And
really
you
and
say,
truly, I'm
but
not
you
gonna
think
sit
Kyrie's
here.
not taking them over the top in any sort of way?
And I was just about to get into that and say that I'm not gonna sit here and put a lot of pressure on a 33, 34-year-old that's just come freshly off an ACL injury and expect a lot from him. We know the talent Kyrie is, but then at the end of the day, bro, he's coming off of a severe knee injury as a small guard as well. Do you know what I mean? Expect him to play at a level that he hasn't played at for what the last year and a bit, 2 years. It's tough. The likelihood of that happening is very little, and I'm not a betting man, so I'm not gonna bank on that to happen. Do you know what I mean? So I just think if you're the Mavs team, just cut your losses. But you know how a lot of teams struggle to cut their losses and hope and hope and hope, and then find themselves in a very difficult hole where they're like, maybe we should have cut our losses earlier and just built
Mm,
around Flag and this that and other.
yeah.
And that's kind of how I see the Mavericks team turning out to be.
I'm more in the boat, I'll be honest, of if Kyrie does come back before All-Star break, before the trade deadline as well, let me just see. Give me a week where everybody's playing, everybody's healthy, and let me just see what it looks like.
I said, all I can ask is just give me one more day.
That's it. I'm not asking you for a month. I'm not asking you for a year. Just let me see one week.
Just give me one more day.
Yeah, let me just see. Because if I see, patterns starting to emerge, and especially if it starts leading to actual wins, and Jason Kidd's idea of everybody on the court healthy at the same time, starts to actually lead to things, then it can give you more if we get into the play-in and then we get into the playoffs. So long as we don't meet OKC too early, we have as good a chance to compete as everybody else, in my eyes, because this is a team that I tipped once they made the AD trade, and even coming into the season as well. And I'm not the only person, by the way, that this will be one of the teams that will be competing in the West for, maybe not the one seed or anything like that, but at least second round, Western Conference Finals. This is one of the teams that I expected. Now, injuries and, other things of that nature have not allowed them to do that. But everybody healthy, I still can't see. I can see why they could, make some sort of run in the Western Conference with everybody just together. You know what I mean? They haven't had that all year. So let me just see it one time, and then I'll make my judgment off that. Kyrie
When
looks
you
too
say
much off the pace. No,
when you say run, what run are you talking about? What does that look like? What is that?
So let's say Kyrie comes back, and he comes back well before the trade deadline, which is mid-February, if I'm not mistaken. And then
Mm.
for that week, the Mavericks go 7-1, 6-2, or something like that. Then I'm like, even though the standings ain't in our favor, I'm gonna be like, let me see what I can do if this team stays together. If it's that bad, cool, we've missed the trade deadline, off season, let's address this. But in regards to if I see something nice before we can actually make any real drastic moves, all right, we've got something, let's cook for the rest of the season, in my eyes.
I mean, they're only half a game above Utah, but then if you're looking at the Clippers, Memphis, Portland, Golden State, they're not teams that have reeled off like multiple wins, or I think are capable of anyway. Outside of probably Golden State, if Curry's firing on all cylinder, you've seen what Kawhi had to do to get the Clippers couple games.
Hmm.
I mean, he's had to play at a historic level at this age that he's at. So it's one of those. I hear what you're saying in the terms of if Kyrie comes back and you can reel off a couple wins, who knows? One or two wins, now you're in the ninth seed. Now you're flirting with the eighth seed. And then obviously, like it says, it's just a one-off game. If you beat a team like Phoenix, you're in the 8th seed, you're in the 7th seed, and now you're in the mix. You're in the mix. If obviously everything goes well.
Bro, you look at it like this, you look at all of the teams in front of them. The Clippers, they're Kawhi injury away from sliding down the West. The Grizzlies, they're jar trade away from sliding down the West. The
Right.
Blazers, young team inconsistencies will happen. Injuries have already affected them a little bit as well. Golden
Mm,
State sliding before our very eyes. And then from the Suns upwards, good teams in the West, good
facts.
teams. So
Facts.
if I'm the Mavs, like I said, especially if Kyrie comes back and he's looking anything like the Kyrie of old, I'm holding on to everything that we've got. And I'm seeing, let's see what we can do for the rest of this season. And if it blows up in our face, no problem. And we address that in the off season. But if we go on a little run here, there, there's no rhyme or reason why they cannot rise up the Western Conference because they can, in my eyes.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Let's, throw all the logic out the window. Let's get some emotions in here now because somebody's Oklahoma City Thunder. It's not looking good in Oklahoma, And I understand. No, wait there. Because I know what you wait there. Let me say it out for the people before you put your glasses on, your rose tinted glasses, and tell the people it's okay. Calm down. We're still first in the West. You wait there. Yeah? To the Hornets. Have shame. LaMelo Ball and them man. Have shame.
If you saw
Who
the type of
wins
shots
off
that
the
we're
bat?
hating,
Have shame. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about regular season all-time record, all-time team right in front of us. You lads are not looking at the vision, mate. 7 wins or 7 losses, I should say. 6 losses in 12. Oh my goodness! All of a sudden, it's not looking so rosy in Oklahoma City Thunderland. And the question I have, very simple question. Is there any cause for concern for what OKC have shown you in this little bump in the road?
so as you were talking, I was doing the maths. 44-1 gets us the record.
Yeah, nasty. Nasty man.
Mathematically, it's still possible. I believe. Hashtag I believe. Do you know what I mean? It's just, so it's one of those ones. Unless it's mathematically impossible, it's still on. But I'm just saying, I even just made a TikTok before we started this, and I was talking about the fact that I'm attributing this to the fact that it's kind of like a championship hangover, and not even more so the championship hangover. It's just the fact that we played more than 100 games last season, and the intensity and the level and the tenacity that we play at, and that the league is played at, it's very difficult to keep that performance up season in season out, especially when you're a team that have a SGA that if he doesn't score 30 points a night on solid efficiency, 50% plus efficiency, we don't have consistent shot makers that can dig us out of certain holes if SGA is not playing at MVP level, which for the most part he plays at an MVP level. He's only human at the end of the day. He's going to have some bad performances. And 3 games that he's shot under 50%, we've lost all 3 games. So now you question where's Chet? Where's J Dub? J Dub's missed the first 20 games of the season, but then the stuff that I was seeing from him last season that I just wasn't really happy with in terms of his shot creation, his shot making, his shot diet. I'm still seeing that this season. You can blame the wrist, obviously coming back from the wrist injury and surgery and stuff like that. Which you give him some grace. There's some credence in that, but still, I'm not seeing any sort of improvement from the off season. Albeit it was a very short off season. Same thing with Chet as well. To be fair, Chet, I'm seeing a slight improvement, but I still want him to be more aggressive in terms of hunting his shot and taking more efficient shots. The rest of the roster, as much as I love them, this is probably going to be the first time in a long time. I still don't want to overreact, but it's probably the first time in a long time where I'm looking at, can we get some more shooters? Can we get some more playmakers into the team? Do you know what I mean? AJ Mitchell has probably turned out to be our second best player, all things considered, with what he's put up. So it's one of those ones. I feel like we've played so many games, 100 plus games. The level and the tenacity that we're playing at. You're looking at the Indiana Pacers, bro. We played them in the NBA Finals last year. Look at them this season. Look at the pace that both teams played at to make it one of the best NBA Finals in a long time. They're decimated with injuries. We have been as well. We're just lucky that obviously our star player was injured as Tyrese Halliburton. Obviously, hope for a speedy recovery. The Pacers are 6-30. Last season they were deep in the finals, thinking, "Oh, we might actually win our first finals in NBA history." Now they're going to every game, losing every game because it's so difficult. It's so difficult to play 82 plus games a season at the level that you're playing at. So just to not waffle too much, I just feel like we're going for a little bit of a slump, which I didn't expect, but actually, like sitting back and looking at it is like it was always going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, when you start the season 22-1, bro, you're gonna have the conversation of, oh, can they, beat that Golden State record, this, that, and the other. But that Golden State team had shot makers. I mean, they had playmakers. They had all of that we didn't have. If our offense isn't clicking defensively, we're gonna take a step down. You know what I mean? Defensively, I don't think we've been as dominant as other teams are. And obviously, when you're seeing coaches like Coach Finch bitching and crying to the refs, this, that, and the other. Now Shea, foul calls that he should be getting, he's not getting because refs are over refing his games and this, that, and the other. They want to call him free throw merchant when the guy's barely on the line, and Luca and Denny Evan, these lot are run around the league. It's all a multitude of things, but I'm just saying it's more so the intensity that we play at. It's very difficult to keep that up, and I think it'll be harder to win the ring this year, which I think we will. It'll be harder to win the ring this year, but it'll be a lot sweeter because a lot of people want to see us fail. Last season was kind of like a new thing, like, oh my gosh, like OKC, like they're not even that good, but where did they come from? They know where we come from now. Do you know what I mean? And we're going to win the championship, and it's going to be sweet because a lot of people do not want us to win it. All Star voting is already out. It's already open. Vote Lou Dort for the first time NBA All Star. So just one of those ones. I'm not gonna overreact. You know, we still lost the least games in the league. I
Yeah.
mean, we still have the best record. We still have the best net rating. So how can I sit here and complain? You know what I mean, we're still the NBA champion. We still have the league MVP. He probably might end up winning it this year round as well, with Jokic injury and everything. So really and truly, OKC fans, I just think they just don't stress out. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. We're gonna win a lot more than we're gonna lose. So you just one of these, lads. Do you know what I mean? One of
No,
these.
come on.
One of these. One of these, man. Do you know what I mean? So that's my say on that.
That's fair, and you made some great points there. The only thing that I won't let you off for was you did say that there's a bit of
What?
yeah, no. I've got to hold you accountable on this platform, matey. I don't know what you lot do in your lives over there. I'll be joining them
Oh
sometimes.
no, don't they hold me accountable for everything, bro.
Word on the street is they ask you every session, what team does Kelly Oubre play for? That's what I've heard on the
Bro,
grapevine. You know?
my brand is cooked.
Finish.
Ah,
No, but excuse me. Well, the only thing I won't let you off for is that you said there's a little bit of a slump, which are allowed. You know, there's humans. You know, I understand that. You know, there was the record chat and there was all-time defense conversations that stretched back to last season. I get all of that, and you're still human. I hear it, but the only thing I won't hear from you is we're playing 100 games a season. We're going deep in the playoffs year in year out. It's not an excuse to me. Because teams of the past, the great teams of the past, your Golden States, you think of the great players as well, your LeBron Jameses, your James Hardens. These guys, every year, they're in the playoffs and they have to produce or else they know what's going to happen, no doubt. So you guys are now entering this kind of territory, whereas like you have real expectations on you year in, year out. Shea, don't drop under 30 points a game or you've made the headlines for the wrong reasons. This is the kind of expectations and the reality that you, the fans, and them, the players, the organization, have to live with. So any sort of, slump in form or bumps in the road, man, the people are going to milk and they're going to enjoy it naturally because still
they
the
act like the
expectation is
world
going to
is
be,
they act like the world's ending.
yeah, cool.
Bro,
Because
like, we
naturally the
still have the
expectation
best
is going to
record in the
be
league.
they're going to make the Western Conference Finals anyway. They're probably going to be in the finals anyway. They're probably going to repeat. So there's not an excuse for you to say just because we're playing a lot of games, you have to allow us. No, because we never allowed anybody else in NBA history. He didn't even allow MJ, and they love that bold guy. They
I'm
didn't allow
saying,
him
but
though.
they were walking around in that league, bro. Everyone's sprinting, bro. The intensity is completely different. It's a
No,
different
no,
game.
no, no, no. Because
Golden State, when they went 73-9,
Mhm.
bro, they had two game sevens in the against obviously OKC and the Cavs.
Yeah,
They didn't have the chance to have a slump the next season because they end up getting Kevin Durant.
it doesn't matter, bro. Steph Curry still went to the finals. How many? What, like 5 years in a row? Bro, and he still
I hear it.
when he didn't perform in that 2016 finals, when they said that he was snubbed of that 2017 MVP, they killed him until he won the finals MVP in 2023 or
22.
2022, whatever the hell it
22.
was.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse for playing the amount of games that you lot are gonna play, because if you lot are not ready for this now, then I'm sorry, you're gonna hate what the next 5 years has in store for you lot. Because you lot, I like to think this is not gonna be the only year that you lot are gonna be competing for the championship again, right?
Impossible. This is our league.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? If this is your league, get ready to play these games, buddy. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, we'll probably end up losing. We only lost 14 games last year. I think we'll lose slightly more this year, but end up being better than we were last year as a team. Because, again, comparing it to the Pacers last year, bro, first half of the season, they stunk. The Pacers were terrible first half of the season, but then ended up being one of the best teams comfortably second half of the season. So that's why when they talk about is the 82 game NBA season long, it is to an extent, but you use those games to sharpen your tools. So when you get into the play to set good habits. So when you get into the playoffs, you literally know your game inside out. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those, and it'll give you room to make mistakes. It'll give you room to fail as well. But then that's where it's beautiful, because you can fail, but then on the other end, you win. Do you know what I mean? You get better. I'm out here sounding like Giannis after you got knocked out with that
Yeah, what?
with that orange jumper, bro. It happens. It happens. But like I said, I'm not gonna overreact. Do you know what I mean? I'm not gonna overreact.
And I'm
Same
not
with
saying you
like when I
should.
watch Arsenal and stuff. When we draw games and stuff, it's like, bro, when you look at the table, so top of the league, top of the Champions League, how can I complain? You
You
know?
know?
So it's one of those ones. When it comes to May, when it comes to June, I'll be insufferable as ever. But if you don't want to enjoy this little bit, hang up the banners, man. You know what I mean, the Charlotte Hornets slept OKC by 30. Hang up the banner.
That's disgraceful, by the way.
I mean, hang up the banner, bro. The shots that Lamelo and them were hitting yesterday, you
Yeah, I
tip
saw
your
like
cap off
Brandon
to
Miller
them,
hit like 7, 8 threes.
bro. Jordan Goodwin as well for the Suns. He hit 8 threes as well the night before. So it's one of those ones. You hang on the bro. You tip your cap off to them. We'll see you in the playoffs if you can make the playoffs. So, so, so it's one of those.
Please,
It's
because
one of
that one
those
hit a little
ones.
too close to home now. So let's cut that. Seems
It's
like
one
the
of those
bottom,
ones.
mate.
Like I said, if everyone wants to laugh, laugh responsibly, because Sam Presti, all you do is just hit one button, and Giannis is running around with OKC gear on. So
I
it's
hear
one
it.
of those ones. We can all have a laugh and a giggle. So we'll see who's laughing in the end.
What?
But
Everyone's a
that's
gangster
my
until
stance
the
of it.
gangsters walk in the room. Yeah, I hear it. I
Bro,
understand. I get it.
it's
Don't
one
you
of them
worry.
ones, man. But
Ah,
yes, a little adversity never hurt anyone, man. You know what I
hey
mean,
man, there's
we
never been a
take it on
smooth
stride.
road. I've never seen a smooth road to a championship. You know,
Facts.
even all the best teams have had their slumps and had their moments. You know, so you're
Exactly.
going through one at the minute, and that's fine. You know, but like you said, all things considered, it's not that bad, is it? It's rich people problems at the end of the day. You know.
Couldn't have said any better. Couldn't
Yeah,
have said
man.
any better.
Yeah. To round it off our Western Conference
Let's,
conversation, chat, overview. Shall we play a game?
let's play a game. Let's do it.
Play a little game, you know. As I say, trade deadline coming up, you know, we've only got like a month. Still nothing happening. I'm concerned. What's going on? But there's 3 point guards that are just doing the rounds constantly. One of them we're going to talk in great detail in the Eastern Conference. Cookie for you if you can guess who it is. But Stateside on The Athletic, our good friends at The Athletic, I've produced an article in regards to, and I'm going to read you the title because I like the way they framed the question. If you were running a team accounting for salary and acquisition cost, which guard would you most be interested in? I'm going to give you them in a second, but you just have to rank them from, 3 being, I have no interest whatsoever, or the least interest, and 1 being, yeah, I'm involved. Can you do that for me? Can you do that for the people?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So which guard would you most be interested in? If you were running a team, Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball, Trae Young.
Give me Trae Young. Give
Number
me Trae
one.
Young. Huh?
Number one.
Number one, Trae Young.
Yes, Trae. Your number one option there is Trae Young.
Number one option is Trae Young. Yeah, I think his scoring for the most part and his playmaking is invaluable. I mean, we'll work around the defensive deficiencies and turnovers.
Who would
Oh, is
be?
I have to do 1, 2, and 3?
Yes, please.
Ja Moran. Wait, Trae Young number one. Ja Moran and who else?
LaMelo.
Uh,
All in trade talk speculation, I should say, at the minute.
give me Trae Young as my number one, John Moran as my number two, and Lamelo as my number three.
Ah, because there was another article, by the way, on Bleacher Report that said Melo is the most overrated player in the NBA at this present moment.
I think so as well, man. Especially after that BS that he shot yesterday. Unless, bro, unless he shows me otherwise, I still have that same sentiment that I like Lamelo as a person from obviously what he's shown us, but as a player, I think he is very overrated. Obviously, there's that whole outside talk, the Ball brothers, all of that stuff, but I think he could show us more.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I'm not. I can't go for me personally. I can't go for most overrated player in the league. I would have to have a good think of who I really think it is
He's
because
definitely up there. He's definitely
I,
up there.
I don't even know if he is just because he's been in that Hornet situation where it's like, well, they ain't got much talent over there. He's injured all the time, so you kind of know what you're getting year in and year out. Unfortunately, of course, but overrated screams to me like the Hawks fans ain't gonna like me, and they won't have to because he's probably gonna be gone. Trae Young to me, and especially because we'll probably go into our Easter conference now. We'll talk about Trae Young because he's in trade speculation at the minute.
Mm,
The Hawks are likely to trade him. Could be any second. Could trade him right now. I could get the Shams
mm.
bomb right now. But to me, Trae Young is one of the most overrated players in the league, just because you just see what the Hawks did, without him. They were balling. Nikhil Alexander Walker doing his thing. Jalen Johnson was dropping triple doubles at the drop of a hat. And now, Trae Young's come back in the team and you can just see it, bro. He doesn't look the same. He doesn't look like he fits the team. The defense, unfortunately, is too much of an issue for this specific team to backpack and, hide him. So because of those reasons, like to me, like maybe he needs to go to another team and show me something else. But to me, he's just overrated.
But if he goes to another team, he's gonna have to be a bold, dominant point guard, though. No.
Absolutely. But then now he has to go to a team where it's like, look, I believe his main teams that he would like to go for, his quote unquote list that's been reported, are the Washington Wizards, the Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Lakers, don't know what he was thinking there. And there was another team that just off the top of my head, I can't remember who the other team is. They probably come into my head later. But
Mm.
these are teams now, barring the Lakers, of course, that actually, can hide his deficiencies well enough for him to be able to operate on offense and just be okay defensively. Because then that's all you need him to do. He's not going to be any stopper or time defender. He's not going to be none of that. He just needs to be, serviceable enough and not kill you, time and time again. If he goes to a team, for example, like the Washington Wizards, which I don't think that's a bad fit, in regards to you give him a lot of ball handling responsibility, which is what he needs. He's a ball dominant, guard. He has the license to shoot, to pass, to do whatever he wants, and he's able to hide on defense because of the athleticism that's around him. I've seen the Portland Trailblazers as another team that's been linked with a Trae Young. Then I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at what Trae Young's, situation is at that point. But at least with this Atlanta Hawks situation, oh no, it's done. It's done, ski, bro.
Yeah, it's done for. It's only going to be a matter of time. Obviously, when he was out with that knee injury, the writing was always on the wall in the fact that if the Hawks end up playing better without Trey, or like they found their feet and they sprung a couple wins together and everyone was playing for each other, which it turned out to be the case, then these type of talks coming in saying that the Hawks are planning to set up a trade for Trae Young. I'm not surprised about that. Do you know what I mean? Because it gets to a point you just have to cut your losses. And you're like, thanks for the memories, thanks for the Eastern Conference Finals in 2021, but it's time to go. You know what I mean?
Mute myself there. How would you rate Trae Young's Atlanta Hawk tenure? Because there will be some people that says it's not been as bad. They haven't had a lot of talent around him. He's never played with another All-Star. I believe that is still, a thing. But there's going to be other people that will be like, Patrick Beverley included in this. Trae, you're supposed to be the All-Star. You're supposed to be the guy. You're one of the best point guards in the league, and you couldn't elevate the Hawks all but 1 year. So, what side of the fence are you sitting on?
But then the Hawks knew what they were getting and bringing in a 6'1" guard. You know what I mean? Who shoots a lot and is susceptible on defense. And I think pound for pound, he's done the best that he possibly could have done for that Hawks team with what obviously they surrounded him with. You know what I mean? It's and getting them to a conference finals when hey you take that. Do you know what I mean? You take that and beating some of the big teams like your New York.
Mhm.
Remember, bro. He's New York fans. you
They
still
still hate him
you
now.
still live rent free in their heads. Do you know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
So it's one
Beat
of those
Philly as well.
being one of your big rivals, beating Philly as well. So it's like he has something on his resume. Play for the Hawks. So you take that and run with it. But I just think obviously there is still a level that he probably would still want to play at and still want to achieve, rather than just beating these teams. Still wants to accomplish stuff. And so in terms of team success, so I think it's probably time for him to leave.
Do you see a team that maybe it's on this list, maybe it's another team that you could think of? Do you see a team that could use a Trae Young to really take them over the top? And if you don't, do you think that he is somebody that is a worthy trade asset to bring in and then take a team over the top if you can't think of one specifically?
I mean, you did mention about the Trailblazers, Portland.
Oh, the
I don't
Celtics
know
were his last team. Sorry, that just came to mind. It was the
the
Celtics.
Celtics.
It was on this list.
I mean, possibly, but I don't mind the whole Jalen Brown and Tatum tandem. I don't think they need a Trey Young over there to, because they've got, what's his name, Peyton Pritchard. They've got Peyton Pritchard there. They've brought in the guy from Portland, Anthony Simons as well. They don't need Trey Young over there. But a team like Portland, I think he'd be a good table setter and grease their offense in terms of his playmaking, and his shot making as well be valuable for him as well.
Like I said, I think the Wizards is probably going to be his best bet in regards
Mm.
to the right blend of people that he can grow with, the youth that they have over there, the athleticism, the defenders that they boast as well.
Mm.
Um, the last bit I have on this as well. What do you think his trade value is? So, like, let's say for example, this obviously he would never go to OKC, for example, but you have a treasure trove of picks over there. You've got everybody picks. It feels like how many, I guess, assets, picks, young players should a team be willing to give up for somebody like a Trae Young?
I mean, he's still what, 28?
Something like that. I'll fact check that.
Yeah, he's still thereabouts. I mean, injuries are slowly creeping into his career. I mean, for someone that small as well, kind of brings up a bit of red flags.
27.
20 exactly. So he's entering into his prime, if not in his prime. But I'm just saying, obviously, with his size, his frame, when he's getting constant injuries nowadays, that will kind of raise some alarm bells and stuff like that. But still, I think he does have a lot of value in terms of his playmaking. Like I'm saying, can see the floor, read the floor very well. His shooting is sporadic, but in big spots, he's not afraid to take and make big shots as well. Do you know what I mean? He can run an offense at a high level. So if I'm a team, I you can still give up quite a bit for Trae Young. Like I said, at the age of 27, I still think his best years are ahead of him if he ends up in the right situation. But that's a
That's
big
fair.
if.
That's fair. That's fair. Don't worry. We will be right here once the actual trade gets announced. I'm just making sure. Nope, I haven't got the champs bomb yet. We'll be right here to discuss when he gets moved to whatever team. Hopefully, it's one of this list. Maybe it will be someone that we haven't thought about. But it looks like the end of Trae Young with the Hawks. The Hawks fans don't like you, so they're gonna blame you. Unfortunately, Stateside time.
Hey,
Yeah, no, yeah, no.
shout out to Hawks, man.
It's life, man. This life. The Raptors could be another team, maybe in the mix as well. They got some athletes over
I
there.
like the
They got
Raptors as well.
defenders over there. Yeah, but let's see. Let's see. The Raptors fans don't like me very much now. I've learned. Don't worry about that. Don't even worry about that. Lastly, as we get into our Eastern Conference bit here, is James Dolan, owner of the. I don't know if he's the owner of the New York Knicks anymore. I don't know if he sold his stake anymore, but I know MSG Network and the Garden. He's the guy
Mm.
over there. He's
Yeah.
CEO of that building operation, whatever you want to call it. He's come out recently and said the Knicks ready to win a championship. Stateside health. And I think this is when there's not a lot that's popping off in the Eastern Conference, I think this is just going to be our OKC versus. When you look these days in the Eastern Conference, you look at the standings, the Pistons, number one, quite a close record to you guys as well. The New York Knicks, they're coming in just below that. The Celtics, somehow, some way, have put themselves in the mix as well. The
Shout out
Raptors.
Jalen Brown.
Yeah, shout out Jalen. But we spoke about him
50
last week.
piece the other day.
Hooping, hooping. When you look, at the landscape currently of the Eastern Conference, My main question is, number one, are the Knicks somebody you're looking at very closely in regards to we could potentially be seeing them as the Eastern Conference representatives, or is there anybody else that you're looking at as, the potential best team in the Eastern Conference right now? Is it the Knicks?
I mean, you, really and truly, you look at the top three. You mean Detroit, Boston, New York. They're really the three teams that you kind of like. You have to play your best to beat them, or else you won't. Do you know what I mean? The Knicks probably out of the three I've mentioned are probably the best out of the lot. They're on a 4 game losing skid right now, so it's not looking good in that department. But you saw how they handled the Magic. You saw how they handled San Antonio. Who was run off a big high after beating OKC. They beat them well in the fourth quarter. They have one of the clutchest players in the league in Jalen Brown. I like Anthony Towns a lot for that team. Defensively, OG, Mikal Bridges. They've got a good core. They've got a good bench as well. I like New York a lot. They pose more of a threat than I'll probably say Detroit and Boston at this moment in time. Um, I mean, then again, Detroit they beat the Knicks comfortably. I think it was either last night or the night before. So you're seeing it where New York beat Detroit in six in the first round of the playoffs last year.
Yes.
All it takes is 1 year. A team gets a lot better. Now they're close. Now you're looking at it saying this could comfortably go seven, or Detroit could beat New York. So it's one of those ones. Even if New York might be a much difficult matchup for an OKC, who's to say if they come up against a team like Detroit this time round, they might not get past them.
And that's crazy to say. I will say I've been very consistent with this. I do think the Knicks are the best team in the Eastern Conference just because their blend of experience, shot makers, high level defenders as well. They're going to be the team to contend with. And James Dolan, for everything that I remember a few years ago, the Knicks fans hated that man's guts. They wanted him to sell the team. They wanted him to be nowhere near, Madison Square Garden. But now these days, hey man, it's right and rosy in New York because they've built, a proper team that's ready to win a championship. And especially if it's, any of the big teams in the West, if there's a team that I'm backing in the Eastern Conference to beat any of them, including OKC, by the way, it's the Knicks. Me personally.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I feel like we touched all the main points of New York, and they've got experience as well. Do you mean most of these players they've played with each other for a long time. Do you mean they've won a lot, they've lost a lot in this playoffs, these postseason. So they're no strangers to the big moment. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's something that they lean onto, as you saw against Boston last year, going on 20 points in game one and two in Boston, and still coming up and chipping away, and end up going and win. Well, starting off the series 2-0 against Boston.
Mm.
So they're a dangerous team. They're a dangerous team to play around with. So it's one of those ones. But New York, the Knicks fans, they're too loud. Do you know what I mean? So they're one of the worst teams you want to lose to because they will remind you of it over and over. So
Yeah.
if we end up facing the Knicks, hopefully we can take off, our job.
Home crowd advantage will be a very underrated thing if you lot have to
Facts.
go face them, because I understand you lot are the champs and all that, but and I know there's a stigma around Madison Square Garden being our celebrities come there. There's going to be guys in the front row. People are not going to take the game
Right.
seriously. Nah, gee, the playoffs is going to be different. Do you know what I mean? They're still
They
going to
love
have
their
the
playoff
celebrities.
basketball.
Yes, they're going to still have the celebrities and all that, but then the hardcore fans are going to be there as well.
Facts.
And when the Garden
Facts.
is rocking and the Knicks are really going, hey man, long days ahead.
I mean, it took a generational run from Halliburton to stifle all of that.
I'm saying, And speaking of, I wanted to get a really, really quick word on the Pacers as well, by the way, because they've gone on a mean skid in the Eastern Conference when you just
Man,
compare.
6-30, bro.
Yeah, when you compare to what they were last year, and like you said, they started off slow. Obviously, mid-season they took it up a notch, and in the playoffs they took it up even more, levels that people didn't think they were going to see. I guess the question: do you think there's a little bit of concern to be had in regards to look, they're skidding so badly, and there's not much talk of Tyrese getting any healthier like there is, or Jason Tatum, by the way, who allegedly is thinking of coming back this year. Do you have a lot of concern for the Pacers in the long term? Because yes, they have the individuals. Siakam, okay, he's doing what he needs to do. Jay Huff is somebody I like, in regards to a shot blocker and just a, decent little role player. probably not a starting center in my eyes, and they still have a lot of their role players. But with this mean skid that they've had, and Tyrese looking like he's going to have to feel his way back into this, fold. Plus a draft pick who's going to be a tasty draft pick, as the standings probably suggest that they're going to have. Do you have concern for the Pacers in regards to, I'm not sure they're going to be back to the levels that they were last year, potentially ever again?
No, they potentially can do, but it's just obviously as of right now, bro, 6-30 on a 12-game losing streak. They're rock bottom in the East. They're 4 games behind the Washington Wizards, bro.
That
It's looking
stinks.
bleak
That
for the
stinks.
Pacers this season. So it's one of those ones. Obviously, you want to try and get as high of a pick as you possibly can. Bearing in mind, obviously, Tyrese should be coming back to full fitness next season. There's no need to rush him back this season because you have nothing to play for. So you try and obviously get the highest pick possible. See who you can get in the draft to try and complement Tyrese in the backcourt and just the team in general. Obviously, Siakam should be there, and your Mavericks, they should have another year under their belt. If I'm a Pacers fan, as of right now, obviously, I'll still be sitting here confused. Like, how are we in a game 7 and now we're 6-30,
Because I
couple
was
games
going to say
behind
as well
Washington?
that you can't be in a game 7 of the finals, and just because you lost your best player, okay, but then now at the bottom of the East, something's not. And I know they've had their injuries as well, but something's not making a lot of sense.
I
Surely,
mean, they have had their injuries, and then obviously, like I said, if you're losing the offensive engine in your Tyrese Halliburton, it should take it should take a big hit. But I agree with what you're saying. It shouldn't take as much of a hit where you're rock bottom in the worst conference out of the two. I mean, but it's just one of those ones you almost have to just scratch the season off and just in your mind just think that the season never happened. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, as
yeah,
your fan, you're still paying tickets to go watch the team, knowing that you're gonna lose every night. It's a dire situation in Indiana right now.
for sure, for sure. Um, shame, but that's just how the quick crumbles. Unfortunately, sometimes
Yeah,
I guess you
man.
lose your best player, especially your point guard, leader of the team. Miles
Facts.
Turner obviously lost him as well,
Yeah,
and
he left.
this what happens, I guess. So I'm not saying Rick Carlisle has to, shoulder a lot of this responsibility because they have had their injuries, but me personally, if I was a fan of this team, I'll be concerned in regards to even if Tyrese comes back, we could never hit the heights that we hit last year. But
I
hey,
mean, they were fourth. I think they finished fourth. So just more so when we get into the playoffs, we can beat any and everyone. You know what I mean? Even if we're the underdogs, we know what we have in Tyrese, what we have in Siakam. We know what they can do. So it's more so trying to get in and amongst the playoff bracket again. Do you know what I mean? And then taking it from there. You don't have to finish in the top three in the East or anything like that. Just
mm,
get into the playoffs. As long as we have Tyrese and Siakam, anything's possible.
yeah, it's fairs, man, fairs. To round off episode of the Stateside Report UK, shall I play one more game?
Let's play one more game. Let's do it.
Oh
These
dear.
hunks, man.
I know, right? Bloody hell. We're just trying to have fun, just trying to knock some of these wrinkles off. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying. Young cause. I love a young call me. I take that back. The people, the FBI might be watching me. No, sir.
Check his art drive. Check-
Spooky
no, but I
scenes.
know what you mean, though.
I like
A promising
younger
young core.
teams in the NBA. Yes, exactly. Unfortunately, I caught you last time out with a blind ranking.
Oh
I
yeah,
caught you of Christmas. I got your
you
ass.
did. You
Yeah,
did.
you know.
Jalen
Um,
Brunson is my number one athletic. Wow.
you said it, not me. A lot of the people, by the way, in the comments of that one, they really thought I meant the Russell Westbrook of prime
Westbrook is
years.
prime. I've
Why would
seen
that
that.
mean that? I don't understand where they got this from.
I'm telling
Why
you,
would
the
I
comments are
compare?
always wrong.
Why would I compare Shaden Sharp that's not even 25 years old to peak Russell? Is it fair,
That's what I'm
brother?
saying. It's
Is it
unfair.
fair? Bloody
But
hell. Yeah, I don't know where people get these things from.
it's
Yeah.
selective hearing in it.
Yeah, people hear what they want to hear. Young calls. I'm going to give you 5 young calls, and you have to rank them blindly. Can you do that for me? Can you do that for the people?
Let us do it.
The first team I have for you, the Houston Rockets.
So we were looking at Shengun, Amen Thompson, Ben Shepherd.
Yeah, Tari Eason.
So am I doing what one to what?
1 is the best, 5 is the worst.
Give me 3. I like that Rockets young core.
The New Orleans Pelicans.
Who are the young core? Are we putting Zion in there?
Nah, I ain't putting down in there. Derek
Nah, so we'll be
Queen.
putting like Jeremiah Fears.
Yeah,
We're putting
Queen.
Derek Queen.
hmm Putting in Jordan Hawkins. A
Hmm.
few others as well.
Give me 4. Put him at 4.
Charlotte Hornets.
The Hornets. I like Concanaport a lot.
hmm
Just off of the strength of him alone and the 8 threes Brandon Miller scored against OKC. Put him at 2.
Brooklyn Nets.
Put him at 5.
San Antonio Spurs.
Put him at 1. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You happy
Yeah.
with that?
I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
So you and, if I'm not mistaken, Spurs 1, Hornets 2, Rockets 3, Pelicans 4, Nets 5.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
I'd,
Yeah.
if it was me,
Perfect.
I'd probably switch the Rockets and the Hornets if it was me, you know.
I see the
Um,
argument for it. I see the
yeah.
argument for it, but it's just the potential like high jump from not being in the playoffs or not being in the playoff talk at all to being like, whoa, how the hell did the Hornets end up here? Do you
That's
know what I mean?
true.
Maybe we just helped spring, you know, spring. What's the English?
Springboard.
Springboarded the potential. To we gave them confidence. I mean, like anything's possible. If you walk into OKC's arena, you might be able to get a win. Do you know what I mean? So don't think nothing's impossible in
Uh,
life. You come to OKC, you get a win.
what are you
It's just
saying? Walk in your trap, take over your trap.
hey, I won't go that far. I won't go that far. But I'll just say it's living proof that anything's possible in this life. So, if we want playoff next year, boys, just look at this OKC performance. Look at the banner that we put up there. They say that we beat them by 30. Anything's possible. So yeah, I'll put the Hornets at 2. Why not?
Boys, out the mud with Rashad McCants.
Hey, like, share,
Boy.
subscribe.
Yeah, like, share,
Catch you
comment,
lot
rate,
in the next
subscribe,
episode,
all
man.
that jazzy stuff. Me and Stateside on back again next week. Oh, by the way, before we even leave it, NBA London not that far away now.
NBA London is not that far away.
Yeah.
Just keep
Oh,
an eye out. That's all
oh
we'll say
man,
for now.
I'm
Just keep an
showing
eye
you.
out.
Oh, two at Stateside. You're gonna be there, right?
We will be there.
We'll be there. What capacity will it be? Inside the arena or outside? I don't know
We
yet.
will be there
But
either
we'll
way.
be there. Exactly. And I hope you are too. I will be
Of
back again
course.
next week, giving you the good stuff. We'll take it easy, lads. We'll see you then.
In a bit.